a number. I don't know how interested you are in the intramural battling going on between Mark Levin and Megyn Kelly, and you've got Dan Bongino now in the mix. Now that he has, returned from his stint in the FBI, and he's going to do a podcast with Westwood One. We've got Ben Shapiro. You've got a comic by the name of Dave Smith, who I've never really heard of until recently. You got all these warring factions among some of the biggest names in conservative media. And to be honest with you, to be blunt, if you've seen it online, it is scorched earth stuff. There's no nuance here. There ain't no gray area. I mean, Mark Levin, I've known all these people for years. I used to be on Megyn Kelly's show all the time back when she had a Fox News show. I've known Mark for many years. And Barrett Media has an article today by Garrett Seawright. And Garrett is a broadcaster's guy. I mean, he spent years leading several radio brands. He's a play-by-play voice of a hockey team, so he knows the industry. And he writes, listen to any recent show from Megyn Kelly, Ben Shapiro, Tucker Carlson, Mark Levin, or Candace Owens, and you'll likely hear shots fired from one to the other. Those conservative podcasters have been taking aim at one another, with Shapiro and Carlson, Shapiro and Owens, Kelly and Levin, Kelly and Shapiro, all of them trading barbs. That's the way Garrett Seawright writes about it at Barrett Media, and I thought it would be kind of instructive. And again, I don't know what your level of interest is in this, but we're going to find out. Let's welcome Garrett Seawright, who's Barrett Media's news editor, to the Mike Gallagher Show. Garrett, the last time I saw you was on stage in New York City for the big Barrett Media Summit, which was a big success. How you doing? Happy New Year.
That it was the last time we saw each other. It's good to be on the show with you today, Mark. Well, Mike, I appreciate it.
Good to have you. Good to have you with us for the first time. Barrett Media is doing great work, and we always appreciate kind of poking in and seeing what you guys are writing about. You know, you politely and diplomatically say that all of these high-profile podcasters and hosts have been trading barbs in recent weeks. Trading barbs. I mean, they are lobbing nuclear weapons at each other. It's gotten personal. It's ugly. It's very, very angry. You wrote about talking to various hosts, and for the record, I am not the anonymous host
Correct.
That you quoted. You referred to another nationally syndicated news talk host who did not wish to be identified. And by the way, I can't blame him or her, because all of these hosts have various armies and they unleash the armies on each other. But Garrett, what's your takeaway in covering our industry the way you do, and you do it so well? What are you finding? What are your sort of discoveries in trying to write about all of these feuds going on? It's my sense it's largely about Israel. Is that correct?
Yeah, a lot of it does stem from Israel, and there are branches to that, considering a lot of the consternation and a lot of the trading of barbs came out after the Tucker Carlson interview with Nick Fuentes, where that was kind of started it all, didn't it, Garrett? It really did. That there was a faction of before that interview, there would have been perhaps a text to Tucker that said, "Hey, I don't think between Ben Shapiro or Mark Levin that would say, hey, this isn't a good idea, and I'll explain to you why this isn't a good idea, why you shouldn't be platforming somebody like this." And that was kind of the line in the sand for, I think, Ben Shapiro, Mark Levin, and others that said, wait a second, this is a bridge too far, because I think in their eyes, Democrats have not done a great job on the Israel versus Gaza since October 7th. That has not been a situation that I think they've won with a majority of Americans. And so I think to some conservative media members, it is why are you opening the door for us to be criticized for taking the wrong stance on this issue. And that just devolved into, I mean, Tucker Carlson's gone as far to say Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire won't be around in 5 years because they've been illegitimately propped up by Facebook. That has led to, you said, I politely said they were trading barbs. I think the polite society in conservative media is somewhat over now. It can obviously come back to taking these things offline, but it is been everybody in those five people mentioned at each other's throats. And you mentioned also Dan Bongino now coming in, where he's made really no bones about on social media, I'm going to have stuff to say about these people infighting and these people trying to take over our movement, because this isn't how it should go. And we'll see what layer that adds to it here in the coming days and weeks.
Well, and people are mad at Dan because in his role in the FBI, they feel like there wasn't enough done over the Epstein files. So people are livid at him, and they're going at him, and he's defending his record as deputy director of the FBI. Yeah, but you interviewed Eric Erickson, who was on a panel with me actually at your Barrett Media Summit, and Eric, of course, is a well-known host out of Atlanta. And I think he made a couple of points that I can kind of relate to, but I want to find out from my audience if they agree or not. Eric said that the research that he's done and the data that they've kind of poured over shows that there just flat out isn't much interest in this drama related to conservative political infighting. And he also believes that the infighting stems from these hosts being egged on by social media followers, with these hosts losing sight of what actually matters. Eric said, my prevailing theory is that everyone who's doing this has been captured by social media. It's basically, you got to get clicks, you got to get engagements. The more people that are watching and following you, the more money that's to be made. And that's really all that's going on here. I think Eric is 2 for 2 on this. Number one, I don't know that our audience is all that interested, but we're going to find out when I open up the phones here in a moment. But number two, don't you think this is a product of hosts needing engagement on social media, and the more provocative and over the top they can be, the better they think it is and the more lucrative it becomes for them?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. It is. That's the business model. That's the way they are able to monetize YouTube, Rumble, podcast, etc. Is every YouTube video you watch, somebody will say, hit the like, hit the thumbs up, click the subscribe button, so you make sure you get our videos all the time, because the more thumbs up, the more it will put into people's YouTube algorithm and the recommended, and then more people watch.
But who wants to live that way? I mean, because every day it's Armageddon. Every day it's bloodshed.
Every day has to be the biggest
story.
Yeah, no, every day the biggest story in the world has to be today, because if I make it seem as if this story isn't as important as something else going on, you might not watch, and therefore I might not get your I might not get your view. I might not get the money from the ad dollars that were placed in the video, and so you have to manufacture drama. You have to hype everything up. So that is the unfortunate business model of engagement farming, clickbait, rage bait, whatever words you'd like to say.
Yeah.
And so it is somewhat kind of WWE-ish of, hey, if I attack you and you attack me, we're both going to benefit from this. So I think there's probably some of that going on. But yeah, this is absolutely 100% a byproduct of the revenue generation model from YouTube, Rumble, TikTok, etc.
Garrett Seawright is with us. He's Barrett Media's news editor. You can go to barrettmedia.com to see the great work that they're doing. Garrett, final question. How do you see this thing playing out? Do you think it dies down, or does it get worse?
I'd love to think that there is an adult in the room that says, hey, all 5 of you, shut up and come with me. We're going to close the door and we're going to hammer this out, because the anonymous nationally syndicated news talk host that I talked to basically said, I don't think it's our job for conservatives and Republicans to win the midterms in 2026, but there are some hosts that do. And so if there is somebody that can pull these 5 folks together and say, hey, this doesn't help, This is not making anybody better. This is not advancing the cause, etc. I don't know that that person exists, that all 5 of them are going to say, hey, you know what? You're right. I respect you. I view you favorably, etc. Because I think if there was an adult in the room, it probably wouldn't have got to this stage where they're all bickering. And so I think it's going to continue for at least a little bit here, because everybody still has something I think that they want to say, or still have something in the chamber to unload.
Where's the adult in the room when you need him? Garrett Seawright, we appreciate your work. Keep fighting the good fight, and I appreciate you joining us here for a few minutes here on the Mike Gallagher Show. Let's turn it over to you. 800-655-MIKE. Do you care? I don't know. I don't know what your level of interest is in this. I've got a pretty good idea of what you like to talk about and what you want covered. I don't know if you're into this or not. Let's find out. 800-655-6453. I've got a theory that there's different islands of audiences. We've got terrestrial radio. We've got Salem News Channel in our case with this over-the-top streaming. There's podcasting. There's social media. These are all different buckets. These are all different environments. These are all different islands that often don't intersect. There's an assumption that if you're following somebody on social media, you listen to them you listen or watch them do their talk show. And I don't think that's true at all. To me, the audience at X, which is where I like to be, isn't necessarily the talk show audience. It's a whole different platform. So maybe what's working for these guys on social media doesn't necessarily translate into an actual talk show like the one I'm doing. But let's find out. I want to turn it over to you. Look, I'll be honest with you. I don't want to fight with any of them. I've got strong views about Israel. I've got certainly certain strong opinions about Epstein and all that. But I'm not going to start going into beast mode and calling people that I've known and respected and followed for years terrible names and filthy descriptors just with the intention of attacking them personally. And that's what this has gotten to. Maybe you're aware of it, maybe you're not. Let's find out. 800-655-MIKE.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.